Last month, a voice agent for your business cost $20,000 to build. This week it costs about $11 and a Saturday afternoon. OpenAI just shipped GPT Live, a continuous voice model that answers phones, qualifies leads, and books meetings in one API call. And most of the agencies charging you for the old build have not read the announcement yet. I want to be careful here. Every time OpenAI ships something, half of Twitter declares an industry dead by lunchtime. I have watched that story wrong 5 times in the last 2 years. So let me tell you exactly what changed, exactly who got undercut, exactly what still cost real money, and exactly what you should do about it before your competitor does. Here is the setup. If you own a dental practice, a law firm, a home services company, or any business that answers a phone during opening hours and misses calls after them, you have been getting pitched an AI receptionist for about 18 months. The pitch is usually the same. $15,000 to $50,000 for the build, a monthly retainer of $1,000 to $3,000 on top, a 6 to 12 week timeline, a polished deck showing your call volume dropping, your booking rate climbing, and a case study from a plumber in Ohio. What the pitch never explains is what the vendor is actually assembling. Under the hood, the old voice agent was 3 separate models glued together. One to hear you, usually deepgram or whisper, one to think, usually GPT-4o, one to talk back from 11 Labs or a similar voice engine, plus a 4th layer to handle the moment you interrupt the agent mid-sentence, which is the part callers register as robotic when it fails. The engineering to stitch those 4 pieces together with acceptable latency under a 1.5-second round trip is genuinely hard work. The $15,000 paid for the plumbing, not the idea. GPT Live collapses those 4 pieces into one call. Speech in, speech out, interruption handling, all in a single continuous stream. The agency's technical wedge just evaporated overnight. Now the part that matters for your calendar this week. Voice agents were the fastest growing corner of the AI services market in 2025. Every marketing agency, every automation shop, every fractional CTO added AI voice to their menu in the last 12 months and marked it up hard. If you got a proposal for one in the last 30 days, the proposal is already obsolete, and the vendor is going to hope you never notice. I want you to try something. Open OpenAI's pricing page yourself right now. Look at the per minute rate for GPT Live audio input and output. Multiply it by 4, which is roughly the length of a real inbound customer call. Your vendor is charging you $200 an hour to mark that number up. Not me telling you. The page. So who exactly just got undercut? 2 groups. First, the boutique agencies selling custom AI receptionists at 5 figures. Their entire value was hiding the pipeline complexity from you. The complexity is gone. Second, the middleware platforms. Vapi, Retell, Bland, Synthflow, Air. Those companies raised venture money on being the friendly wrapper around a stitched-together voice stack. They still have real features on top, and I will get to them in a minute because it matters, but their primary technical moat just became a single OpenAI endpoint any developer can hit. Here is the second thing that just changed, and it is the actual money story. Per minute cost. The old middleware stack ran you somewhere between 10 and 40 cents per minute of call time depending on tier. GPT Live plus a Twilio phone number lands closer to the raw API rate plus less than a penny for the phone leg. For a dental practice doing 500 customer calls a month at 4 minutes each, you are looking at 2,000 minutes of talk time. At 30 cents a minute, you are paying $600 a month to a middleware vendor. At the new rate, you are paying a fraction of that directly to OpenAI. Same voice, same booking, 1 bill instead of 2. Over a year, around $5,000 back in the practice before you count the agency retainer. Multiply the saving across every dental practice, every law firm, every home services company on that vendor's roster. Multiply it across every vendor who quietly built a business reselling minutes to small operators. The collapse. Now the weekend build, what can you actually stand up yourself? A working phone agent that answers a real inbound number, asks a caller 3 qualifying questions, checks your calendar, and books a slot needs 3 things. A Twilio phone number, which costs $1.15 a month, plus 1/100th of a cent per minute. A GPT Live session, which costs pennies per call. And a system prompt describing your business, your qualification criteria, your opening hours, and your calendar link. The whole build. A competent developer wires it up in a day. A Claude code session with clear instructions wires it up in an afternoon. Under $500 in total setup, mostly one-off developer time and cents per call in runtime. Compared to the $15,000 you were quoted, the math is not close, not even the same category. Small subscribe ask before I get to the part the vendors do not want you to hear. If any of this is useful, hit subscribe. I break down one AI move that changes your costs every day this week. Right, now the twist. Because I promised you the take the news recaps do not have. Not every vendor deserves to lose this fight, and a lot of business owners are about to make an expensive mistake by cancelling the wrong quote. Here is what the middleware platforms actually sell that OpenAI does not. Call recording that survives an audit. Warm transfer to a human when the agent hits a question it cannot answer. HIPAA paperwork if you are in healthcare, and HIPAA fines start at $100 per record and top out at $50,000. TCPA consent flows if you are in the United States and doing outbound, where a single unlawful call runs $500 to $1,500 in statutory damages. GDPR handling if you have European callers. Retry logic when a call drops mid-booking. Analytics that tell you which questions your agent is failing on. A fallback route when OpenAI has one of its multi-hour outages, which happens more often than the pricing page admits. If your business needs any of the above, the middleware vendor was not just a wrapper. They were the layer that kept you out of court. Cancel them to save $400 a month, get hit with a TCPA violation for $1,800 per call across 200 calls, and you are looking at a bankruptcy event, not a win. So the actual play sorted by who you are. If you are a small operator with a simple inbound line, a restaurant, a salon, a solo law practice booking consultations, a home services company routing job requests, build it yourself this weekend or hire one developer for a day and pay them $800. Skip the agency. Skip the middleware. The compliance surface is small enough that you own the risk. If you are a mid-sized business with regulated calls, outbound sales, or high volume, keep the middleware for now. But go back to your vendor this month and ask them in writing to explain why their per minute price has not dropped when the underlying model cost just did. Ask them what the new margin looks like. If they cannot answer, or they answer with vague language about platform value, you have your negotiation lever for the next renewal. If you are sitting on a $15,000 to $50,000 agency proposal for a custom build, do not sign it this week. Send them one email. Ask them what they are actually assembling that GPT Live does not do natively, and ask them to itemize the build hours. If the answer is a system prompt and a calendar integration dressed up in a Notion doc, you just saved $40,000 and a 6-month timeline. The first mover window here is short. Every agency currently selling voice builds is going to relist itself as a GPT Live implementation partner inside the next 30 days. Once they do, the same $15,000 quote comes back with new marketing and a fresh case study. You have about 3 weeks to renegotiate before the pricing floor resets and the language changes to hide it. One more thing before the ask. Here is the pattern to watch across every AI release from now on, and it is the whole reason this channel exists. When a model provider absorbs a layer of the stack, the vendors selling that layer do not immediately drop their prices. They wait to see how many customers notice. The window between the release and the price reset is where the money is. It happened with copywriting SaaS in 2023, with image generation platforms in 2024, and now with voice agents in 2026. Your job as an operator is not to build every AI tool yourself. Your job is to know which layer just collapsed this week, so you stop paying yesterday's price. Everything I broke down today, the vendor questions to send, the weekend build checklist, the exact system prompt I use for a booking agent, lives inside the Church of SEO Jesus. My free school community. Founders drop the vendor quotes they are getting, and we price check them together. Right now, there are 3 voice agent proposals in there getting torn apart in real time. Free to join, link in the description and the pinned comment. Tomorrow, I am covering the model that is about to do the same thing to your paid ad copy team. I will show you the exact quote a client of mine just got and what the new number should be. See you then.